Yo, what's happening, guys? It's GM Cody, and welcome back to kind of a episode, I guess you could say. This isn't a full-blown episode like we usually do, but I thought I'd come in here today and talk about a game that I've kind of fallen in love with and didn't think I would. And that is Trench Crusade. And thus, you can see from the title of the video why I gave in and started loving the Artillery Witch. So I just wanted to come on here and talk about my journey to loving this game and why I've fallen in love with it and what's going on here. So basically, I think every war gamer on the internet's heard of Trench Crusade right now. It's the newest hotness, and if you haven't heard of it, basically the essential idea is that in the year 1099, during the Crusades, a group of Templars discovered basically they opened a portal to hell and became heretics, and demons started pouring out and people started becoming corrupted, and now it is the year 1914, 800 years later, and there's this ensuing battle that is basically World War I style, trench warfare between heaven and hell, and it's yeah, so that is basically what Trench Crusade is. If you haven't heard of it, go look for it for yourself. I will say the website is not very appealing, but once you get into the other stuff, it is a little more interesting. So here's the thing about Trench Crusade. So first off, I didn't think I would like this game. So, I'm kind of, for the last few years, I've actually been kind of worn out on the grimdark stuff. Like, I like the old grimdark stuff, don't get me wrong. I love Warhammer 40,000. I love old school Warhammer Fantasy. I like Judge Dredd. I like The Watchmen. I like Elric. I like grimdark, but I'm also a little tired of the grimdark at the same time. Like, it's just been done to death, I think, especially in the past few years. Or at least I thought I was tired of the grimdark. And I kept hearing murmurings for the past few months of this game, Trench Crusade. Now, I'm the kind of guy, I don't keep up with the newest hotness going on. I just don't, I kind of live in my own little bubble. Like, things that grab me, they grab me or they don't grab me. Like, I don't really keep up with what's going on in the gaming industry. Like, currently, usually, occasionally I hear things because of the internet and whatnot, or through friends, but I myself don't really keep up really any kind of media. Like, I just don't keep up with it unless I see something that really interests me and I go towards it. That's the way I've always been. And if something's really popular, it tends to turn me off even more for whatever reason. It's just the way I am. I guess I'm a contrarian or whatever. But things that are, really, really popular, at the time anyways, I tend to be turned off of because people just overhype things, I guess. I'm not really sure the reason. It's just my mind just switches off when I hear things get overhyped. So I heard murmurings of this game, Trench Crusade, and I didn't really think anything about it. I didn't look at it. I didn't really care. The name didn't even do anything for me. But my good friend Andrew, who's the guy that got me into gaming, and I got him back into gaming and whatnot, he messaged me a few weeks ago and was like, "Hey, are you you getting into Trench Crusade? It seems like it'd be right up your alley." And I'm like, "No, I don't think so. I'm not really interested." He's like, "Well, you should check it out." And I'm like, "Okay." So I hadn't really looked at anything, so I looked at the website, and again, the website's not very good. It's not very appealing. It's not a good advertisement for the game, anyways. It just didn't really sell me, and I just kind of looked at it and saw, alternate Weird War, World War One, and I just kind of tuned out. But the more I started digging a little bit more. So I've been doing afternoon walks, trying to get into better physical shape and whatnot. And so on my afternoon walks, I found the lore to Trench Crusade. Somebody narrated it, and I was listening to it for the past couple weeks. And once I listened to the lore, well, yeah, so it kind of went in steps, but the lore was probably actually the second step. But I was listening to the lore, and it really, I was like, man, this is really cool stuff. This is really good. Like, I became immersed in all this stuff I was hearing about the lore that is being presented before me. The whole thing was kind of like that Vince McMahon theme, right? So it actually started off like this. Andrew told me about Trench Crusade, and I'm like, okay, yeah, all right. And I wasn't even really that excited. And then it was like the first stage of the meme. He was like, "Well, Tuomas Pirinen, made the rules." And I'm like, "If you don't know who Tuomas, I'm sorry if I'm messing that name up. Tuomas Pirinen was the guy that made Mordheim." So he caught my attention right there, and it was kind of like that first stage of the Vince McMahon theme. I'm like, "Oh yeah," and then he's like, "Yeah," and like Paul Bonner and John Blanche did some of the art, and then it was like the second part of the meme. I'm like, "Oh yeah." And he's like, "Yeah," and then on top of that, it's the miniatures are really cool, and he starts telling me all this stuff. And the more I got into this, the more I just got more excited about the game. So, anyways, I'm going to talk a little bit about why I like this game. I've really fallen in love with it, and I'm going to go through the reasons why tonight. So, first off, it's full blown rated R grimdark, and I kind of love it. I said I was kind of worn out of grimdark. Well, what I like about this is no holds bar grimdark, right? Like this is, they don't care if they're offending anybody. This is based in the real world, and it has real world religious stuff involved. It is very graphic. It is very dark, and it's actually kind of terrifying when you listen to the lore. It's actually more terrifying when you not just read the lore, but when you're listening to somebody like I was listening to somebody narrate it, and it was more terrifying. I was like, wow, this is some dark shit, right? And so I kind of like that though, like that kind of level of grimdark. Like if you're gonna do it, don't tiptoe in it like 40K does. Let's do it. Let's go full blown, and this game definitely does. And that kind of piqued my interest for whatever reason. That kind of just full blown darkness or just terrifying darkness of this game really spoke to me somewhere, and I don't really know why, but it did. And I think the reason is because it is like this full blown grimdark. Like 40K would be like those B-rated horror movies, which I love from the 80s. And this was like, something that was just another level of that, right? Like that's what this feels like. So that's number one that I really appreciated. Number two, it's a skirmish game, which I do love skirmish games, but I've been looking for another hobby project or another miniature project to get into. And I didn't really want to do like another full-blown big army game or like a warband game. I was looking really for a skirmish game, something I can work on in between my Warhammer Fantasy stuff, because you guys know I've been playing some old school Warhammer Fantasy, and I'm painting up a new orc army, which will hopefully we'll talk about sometime in the future. But I didn't really want like a big project. I just wanted something like kind of small and self-contained that I could manageably do. I like to have something to fall back on when I get burned out of painting orcs, basically, and I do that pretty much every time I get into a big army project. I want like a smaller project that I can go to distract myself from the bigger project, because my attention span is not that great. And so I need something to distract myself and something else to work on and keep me focused and excited on painting and working on stuff. And so, a skirmish game is perfect for that. And this game is the perfect level for me. We're talking like between, I don't know, 6-10 miniatures maybe, and that's it. And speaking of miniatures, it's a miniatures agnostic game, which appealed to me as well. Now, they do have official STLs out. I'm not much of a kit basher and converter. I have converted and kit bash stuff in the past, but that's not really up my alley. But I do love that that's like they're promoting that kind of thing. I went for the official miniatures, and I had somebody else print out the official stuff for me. And that's the way I'm going to go, because I really do love the aesthetic and the look of the new miniatures, the official miniatures, if you will, that are coming out. And I think in the future they're going to be releasing like box sets of these miniatures, so that's great. So that level of being a skirmish game really appealed to me. Number three, the lore, the art, the aesthetic. And these things are very important to me in a game. And when I saw first I heard the lore. I was listening to the lore, not reading the lore. That really was awesome. And Tuomas Pirinen also wrote the lore. The other thing was the art. And I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but the guy that actually came up with this concept was an artist, and he was actually just drawing art. And then eventually he had miniatures commissioned for this. And then they approached Tuomas to make a game for it. So that's kind of how this thing rolled about. So right off the bat, it was basically an art project to start off with, and you can tell like the art is really cool. All the concept art's really good. Um, all the stuff that they had John Blanche and Paul Bonner and all this stuff do some covers and stuff that are coming out in future publications, and all the art and everything and the aesthetic of it, everything is really cool. It's really interesting. It's unique, and it's imaginative, and it reminds me of games, the kind of games from when I grew up gaming in the 90s, right? So, when I first got into gaming in the mid 90s, this was kind of the stuff that was going on. Like, it was very wild, imaginative stuff, and some of it was pretty grimdark and edgy, if you will. So it kind of reminds me of that kind of thing. Like, it's just very off the wall. It's very imaginative. It's very creative, and it promotes creativity. And there's enough room there for you for your imagination to go wild, and I love that. And my imagination is definitely going wild with it. So that's number 3, basically. Number 4 is the game itself. I started watching. Again, it was kind of like the Vince McMahon meme where, it was like, oh, lore, art, 2 Miles Spirited, And then I saw the game played. I started watching some bat reps on YouTube, and the game looks really good. It looks really solid. In fact, I think later this week or next week, we're going to be doing a rules review or overview like I usually do, looking at the rules of Trench Crusade. And the rules look really solid. It looks like a really fun game, and I'm actually really excited just to play the game. It's a very unique system, one that I haven't seen done before. It's a D6 system, but you're always looking for a 7 essentially, and you add or subtract dice depending on modifiers. And if you're at an advantage, you roll that many dice and take the highest dice. If you're at disadvantage, you roll that many dice, you take the lowest dice. That's a really cool, interesting system. And we'll talk more about the rules later because I'm gonna read more through it. I haven't read thoroughly through the rule book yet, but it looks like a really good game, and I'm actually just excited to play the game. Like the game itself looks like a lot of fun, so I'm really excited to do that. And number 5, finally, is the philosophy of this game, right? So when I saw at Adepticon, which I guess was a week ago or 2 weeks ago, I can't remember now, Tuomas did a presentation about Trench Crusade. He was talking about the philosophy that, basically there's like 3 guys working on this game, and their philosophy about creating this game. And it really appealed to me because they're basically doing everything completely opposite of what most of the big game companies are doing. This is totally a very anti-corporate kind of game, and at the same time, they've been very, very successful at what they're doing. Like they haven't even released a game yet. It's in playtest right now. Like, you can go download the rules for free, and they're always going to be free, which is awesome. The fact that they're not marketing anything. There's no commercials. There's no advertising anywhere. And they have this very like creative, they're promoting 3D printing. They're promoting you to use your own miniatures, and all this kind of stuff is very refreshing to see from a game company, if you will. And you just don't see it very often. And the whole philosophy of, basically kind of the community owns this game, and we're just making this cool stuff for you, and you do what you will. And that's a really, all this freewheeling non-corporate philosophy really appeals to me. It's really refreshing from a game company. So yeah, like all these things combined has really made me fall in love with Trench Crusade. And actually, I've been busy today. I've been working on my modular trench system. Maybe we'll do a video about that. I actually did film some stuff about it, but we'll see how it turns out. And yeah, and I've got at least one person to play with me. My brother's going to play with me, so that's really cool. I've ordered some miniatures, and I'm really excited to dig into Trench Crusade. So yeah, I just thought I'd hop on here because I've been enthusiastic and excited about this game, and I know that it's been done to death for months now with wargamers, but I just couldn't help myself. I had to come on here and talk to you guys about it a little bit and express why I'm kind of falling in love with this game. And let me know below in the comments if you're interested in Trench Crusade, or if you're not. And let me know if you are, why, and if you're not, why. And yeah, and I think again either this week or later, maybe next week, we'll see how time goes. We're gonna do a rules overview of Trench Crusade, and definitely look forward to more Trench Crusade videos in the future. So I hope you guys enjoyed this short video. If you liked it, make sure to give me a thumbs up. We're almost at 1,000 subscribers, and I never thought that would happen, so that's pretty awesome. I see everybody's really enjoying the wargaming content more than anything, and I think this is going to be the year of wargaming here on the GM Cody YouTube channel, which we might have a rebranding actually. But anyways, another thing to look forward to is I did an interview with Nexus Wargaming last week about Warhammer Renaissance, and I think that episode should be out this week. So whenever it comes out, I will let you guys know. But until then, y'all take care. Peace.